Welcome back to another enlightening episode of The Truth About the Plant, the show that takes you on a journey through the world of psychoactive plants and alternative wellness, all while delivering the real actionable insights you crave. I'm your host, Christina Dees. This is my ever amazing co host, Dr. Amanda Ryman. Dr. Ryman, you know what to do. Tell them why we're here.
Well, we're here because there is a lot of information about marijuana out there on that internet. And anytime you want to Google a question to find out how to better use the plant, you're going to be hit with all kinds of answers, many of them contradicting each other, and very few of them backed by evidence. So we're here to separate fact from fiction. We want to provide you with real, actionable information that you need. Think of us as your trusted source for uncovering the secrets of plant medicine, just like the candid advice you'd get from your cool aunties or your kick-ass granddaughter.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, high times ahead. Today, we are delving into the age old question that sparked countless of debates. Is smoking marijuana a one way ticket to the stoner couch? Or is it a misunderstood medicinal marvel? So buckle up because we're about to light up the truth. Actually, that made me want to kind of light up when I said that. So, Dr. Ryman, is smoking marijuana bad for you?
Well, great question. Smoking marijuana has been the preferred method of ingestion for a really, really long time. I mean, when we go back thousands of years and we see that people were using marijuana across the world in different cultures, smoking the plant was a very popular way to consume it. People also made salves to rub on their skin. They also used it leaves in food and other medicines, but smoking has kind of always been on the table. And then, of course, we know during Prohibition, that was really the only choice you had. You didn't get edibles. You didn't get tinctures. You didn't get vape pens. You got raw flower. And the easiest way to ingest that raw flower was to light it on fire and inhale. But now we have a whole legal cannabis market that offers us many, many different ways to ingest. So the question then becomes, is smoking your cannabis healthy or not? So there's always been this assumption that smoking marijuana was bad for you. And this was really based on the fact that smoking tobacco is bad for you. So we didn't really have a lot of research based on just smoking marijuana because the government wasn't really interested in asking those questions. So instead we said, well, we have all this research on smoking cigarettes. We know that that's really bad. We know that people get emphysema and bronchitis and COPD and lung cancer. So we're just going to assume that smoking marijuana is the same and that it is also bad for you. But that wasn't the entire truth.
Well, we know smoking tobacco is unhealthy. So, how is smoking cannabis smoking different?
Well, there's a couple of differences between the way people consume tobacco through cigarettes and the way people consume marijuana through joints or pipes or bongs or bowls. So one is the amount smoked. So when you think about a habitual cigarette smoker, they usually smoke between 1 and 2 packs a day. So we're talking 20 to 30 cigarettes a day. Now, even if you are a frequent marijuana consumer and somebody that's consuming several times a day, it's very unlikely that you're consuming 20 to 30 joints worth of marijuana in a single day. And so some of the diseases that we see associated with cigarette smoking, like lung cancer, emphysema, COPD, marijuana smokers just don't smoke enough during their lifetime to get to the point where they develop those diseases. So that's one reason why it's different. Another reason are the methods used. So when you light up a cigarette, there's all kinds of things in that tobacco besides tobacco. There's a lot of preservatives, there's chemicals, there's other components, and those in and of themselves are cancerous and harmful. When you light up a joint or smoke a bowl and you're just smoking tested cannabis flower, then you don't have any of these additional additives going into your lungs. And then, of course, like I said, the product itself. So cannabis has a lot of anti-cancer properties. And there was a study that was done years ago looking at cannabis and lung cancer. And what they found was that there could be some protective components in cannabis that prevent people who smoke it from getting lung cancer because they act as anti-cancer agents. So in a way, they kind of combat some of the damage that's being done to the mouth, the lungs, the throat from lighting a plant on fire and inhaling it.
So, are there any risks to smoking cannabis?
Yes. Sorry. I wish I could say no, none at all.
I
But
thought
like
you were going there. I thought you were going to say,
I know. That's such a disappointment.
but we want the
Yeah,
truth. So
we
shoot us
want the
straight.
truth. We
That's
want the
right.
truth. So the good news is, like I said, it is not shown to cause some of these other diseases related to smoking, like cigarettes do, like lung cancer, emphysema, and COPD. But as I said at the end of the last segment, you are still lighting a plant on fire and inhaling it into your lungs. And so there are a few risks that come with that. One is that you're inhaling the smoke into your mouth. This can cause your mouth to dry out. They find that cannabis smokers have a higher rate of gingivitis and gum disease than non-smokers. And they believe this could be because you're drying your mouth out with the cannabis smoke, and that is allowing bacteria to grow more rapidly. So that is a concern. Secondly, you could cause irritation to your throat. Now, this is mostly because of coughing, right? So a lot of people cough at least a little bit after they smoke marijuana. And so this coughing a few times a day over many weeks, over many years can cause irritation to the throat. So long term, this can cause chronic cough. It can cause sore throats. I was a chronic marijuana smoker. So that was my chosen method of ingestion from like age 20 to like age 46, right? So long history of smoking marijuana. I'm also an exerciser. I didn't find that it, got in the way of my cardio activity. I was a runner. I didn't find it got in the way of that at all. But one of the things I started to notice was that it had an impact on my voice. And you all hear me now, right? I use my voice a lot in my work. I do a lot of speaking. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that it was making my voice a little bit gravelly, that I was having to do that a lot, even when I hadn't been smoking. So I actually gave up smoking at the beginning of 2023 and started to use a dry flower vaporizer instead. So vaporization is heating the cannabis material to the point where it's releasing those active cannabinoids in a vapor, but there's no combustion. So there's no lighting anything on fire. There's no smoke. And after not doing that now for almost a year, I've noticed a huge difference. I've noticed a huge difference in my coughing. I've noticed a huge difference in my voice. I've noticed a difference in my teeth and gums. So there are risks to smoking marijuana. Now, if you're somebody that smokes occasionally, we're talking maybe half a joint at night or a whole joint, one joint a day, or just smoking on the weekends, I would say don't worry, right? You're definitely not consuming enough to have the smoking negatively impact you. So unless you feel a reason to do something different, it's probably not a problem. If you're somebody that's smoking marijuana several times a day or throughout the day, you might want to think about changing it up a little bit.
Well, I love that you brought this up because it's when I got my master's degree, we had a whole module on the harmful effects or the potential harmful effects of smoking cannabis. And I learned that vaporizing was the healthiest way, quote air quotes, if you are going to consume cannabis, that is what the least harmful way to do it. So, you know, I love a volcano, and I like you. As soon as I saw the research on that, I stopped smoking. Every once in a while, I just love the taste of a good pre-roll, a good joint. But for the most part, it's actually changed a lot for me as well. So, what are some other alternatives to smoking for people who consume cannabis?
Well, we mentioned vaporizers, and I really like the dry flower vape. You mentioned the Volcano. If people haven't seen that, it's like the big silver machine that has the bag, and you basically put some dried flower in the top, and then it pushes hot air through the bottom and fills the bag with vapor, and then you inhale from the bag. That's great. I mean, it produces a lot, so it's kind of a sharing thing, and it's definitely
Yeah,
not portable for the most part.
correct. Yeah,
Um,
that's my problem is on the go. I do
yeah,
like the packs
that's
too.
what I have. So I
Okay.
have the packs. That's what I really like. There's a few different versions of vaporizers out there. There's the packs. Stores and Bickle, who make the vaporizer, also make a vaporizer called the Mighty Plus. Very similar. You're basically just carrying it around with you, putting flour in, it's heating the flour and releasing it as a vapor. So if you like inhalation, right, which a lot of people do because they want to taste the product and they want to feel the effects right away, which is a huge benefit of inhalation. And if you're a smoker, you may just want to try a dry flower vape. It's still going to give you that taste. It's still portable. And let me tell you, if you're in hotel rooms, It's a lot easier to get away with using a dry flower vape than putting the towels under the door and getting all the air freshener out and
The toilet
trying to
paper
mask
roll.
the toilet paper roll and the towels and all the things that we do in order to mask that smoke smell. It's a lot easier when you have a dry flower vaporizer. Now, of course, vape pens are another option. I will be honest, I'm not a huge fan of vape pens. They come with oil. It's not the raw flower. A lot of times the components of that are kind of taken from the plant, divided up into individual components, then added back in order to make that oil. And I do also think that vape pens are very habit forming. It's very easy to just pick it up, put it down. You don't have to prepare anything. You can use them pretty much anywhere. But for some people, that's a real benefit, especially if you're a medical consumer. And then, of course, other options include edibles and beverages. And one of the big barriers to adoption for these things were the fact that it takes so long to feel it. So people liked inhalation because they could inhale, they could feel it right away and come down fairly quickly. Edibles and beverages kind of take you on this longer journey where you may be high for longer than you desire. But there's new technology that makes edibles and beverages fast acting. And so I would definitely recommend that people seek these things out. They're a great alternative to smoking, and you are going to feel the effects fairly quickly.
Well, I know you love tinctures, so I always wait for
And
you
tinctures.
to
Oh,
end
yes.
with
And I
that
can't
one.
forget my wonderful tinctures. So, tinctures, 10 to 15-minute onset, delivered under the tongue, come in all kinds of cannabinoid ratios. I will encourage folks, if you are getting a manufactured product, whether that's a tincture or a vape pen or an edible, look for something on the label that says whole plant. Okay, whole plant. Because what that means is they basically took that plant, they applied a process to it that's going to make it into an oil to be used for an edible or a tincture or a vape pen. But everything in there is the component of the original plant. And this is versus isolate or distillate, where they're basically applying a process that separates out the THC, that separates out the CBD, that separates out all the terpenes. And then they kind of add them back in like ingredients into the final product. But I don't think that that's as good a way to ingest the natural plant as to look for something that says it's a whole plant on the label.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, as we part ways for now, remember to cruise on over to our YouTube channel for a delightful extra helping of plant powered enlightenment. All the episodes can be found there. Keep being the incredible supporters that you are. You truly make our world go round. And if you're bubbling over with questions or you just want to say hello, please don't be shy. Reach out to us. info@mypersonalplants.com. We're all ears, at least virtually. So until our next rendezvous, stay curious, stay balanced, and keep unveiling those delightful truths. We'll see you next time.